Brilliance Audio presents That Scandalous Evening by Christina Dodd, performed by Karen Cass.
Let us hope no one remembers the scandal.
Eliza Morant stared down his quivering rabbit-like nose at his sister-in-law.
I will not have my daughter's good name tainted by the tincture of your disgrace.
Already dressed in her outmoded brown travelling garments, Miss Jane Higgenbothem sat upright in the hard chair. She was, she knew, the picture of dignity and tranquillity. She worked hard to achieve that image, and for just such moments as these. Eliza had not summoned her to this dimly lit parlour just to whine again about that ancient scandal, she was sure. So why was she here? In well-modulated tones, she answered, I cannot imagine the ton will be interested in anything that happened so long ago. They are ever on to some new tidbit.
Except that this scandal happened to Lord Blackburn.
She lowered her gaze to her gloved hands. The carriage was waiting. Adorna was waiting. London was waiting. And Eliza droned on.
Lord Blackburn is one of the richest men in England. He sets the tone. Everything he does is copied.
His knuckles turned white as he gripped the back of an old-fashioned high-backed chair.
Yet despite all that, I understand there are some who still call him Figgy.
Jane winced. My behaviour has been exemplary since my return from London, she answered stoutly.
You still sketch,
Eliza said, in a tone usually reserved for accusations of prostitution. All ladies sketch.
Your skill betrays you.
I'll try to do worse.
Don't be saucy, miss. Those portraits you do are scathing, as you well know.
Her portraits were really nothing more than quick outlines, impressions Jane gathered from the people around her. But Eliza had once seen one she'd done of him, and he had recognised the parsimony shining in his eyes. He had not forgotten or forgiven. Flipping open the fat book of accounts in his hand, he shook it at her.
I can scarcely yet believe I financed that ill-begotten season of yours. It was not my duty to stand the blunt, but I did it on my dear Melba's urging. As I told her then, nothing good can come of this.
His fingernails scraped the leather binding.
I was correct, as usual. Nothing good did come of it.
She'd heard this refrain many times. 11 years ago, he had paid for her clothing and rented a house in a fashionable part of London. And how had she repaid him? With disaster. But he hadn't done anything for her. He'd done it for Melba. For Melba, her sister, and his wife, whom he had revered with all the meagre passion of his mean-spirited heart. Jane had done it for Melba too, for her beautiful older sister. Even at the age of 18, Jane had known she was ill-suited to society. But Melba had lightly dismissed her qualms. Darling, you must marry. What else is there for a lady to do? Looking back, Jane suspected Melba had known she was dying, and manoeuvred to move Jane from her home to her own household. Now, faced with Melba's widower, Jane knew her sister had been right. It would have been better to be any man's wife than to be Eliza's mere dependent. I've been your housekeeper. I've raised your daughter. She took a quiet breath. Now I'll be her companion. He turned to the window and stared out at the street, then leaned forward as if he saw something that interested him.
I could have hired someone else to do those things, and more cheaply.
From outside she heard a shout. Rising, she saw across the street. A rag-clad woman had stolen an apple, and now she cowered from the blows of a street cart vendor. Jane flinched at the sight. Only Eliza's largesse stood between her and just such a scene.